Hi guys, I'm Sarah Williams, and I wanted to give you a little bit of history about some of the medical issues I've been going through, and the insurance companies and what they do cover and don't cover. And I know I'm not the only one on this planet that's having this issue, and um, it's really unfortunate that we have to rely on our insurance plans to decide what is something that we can have done or not done, and I really am disliking it. But I'm going to share a little bit of my story with you and also update you guys on some new developments with me and what I'm going to need, and I'm going to ask for some help from y'all. So bear with me. A lot of this is news that you may or may not know, but I think it all serves a purpose in the end. And if you guys are so inclined to help me out, I would appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. I have so much love to give people, and I think I hope that some people can give me some back. Anyways, in 2014, I had a pretty major brain injury. It probably was about my fourth or fifth concussion. I had horses growing up, so I had a lot of impacts to the head, some pretty major ones. Never had any real treatment from them. I think, growing up, we're always told, get up, dust yourself off, and keep going. And that's kind of been my motto for my life here. So so I had some pretty nice blows being kicked in the head by the horses, and then in 2014 I had a swimming accident. I had started to become a triathlete, and I was wanting to get an upper edge, and I saw these people doing these flip turns in the swimming pool. Awesome! I hadn't even known how to swim before I started triathlons in 2013. Like, I mean, I could swim like to hang out in the water, but I never knew how to swim like competitively. So I was learning how to do a flip turn, and I had one lesson one day with a dear friend, and then I decided I'm going to take this back and I'm going to work on it. That's what you do. You just put your worth ethic to it and try to master this. So I was at the pool the next day, and I went to do a flip turn in the shallow end of the pool all by myself. And needless to say, I ended up not completing that flip turn, and I crushed my head onto the bottom of the pool. And I hadn't come completely out of my turn to go back up to the water, so the back of my head hit the bottom of the pool, flat on. So, anyways, fast forward, that did quite a bit of damage to me. I'm sure my friends and family can all attest to the person that I am now versus the person I was before, and it's definitely not the same person, which is sad, and blessed that I'm actually still here. So I did all the treatments that I could. During that case, I went to my um, primary care physician, and they kept putting me on bed rest, bed rest, bed rest, because you're supposed to rest your brain if you hurt it. And the only thing is that's supposed to help your brain to heal is rest and total darkness. And so I did that. I kept going back, and I'm not getting any better, not getting any better. So finally, I took it upon myself to do some research. Another friend had recommended a doctor up at OHSU who was specializing in concussion treatment, and his name was Dr. Chestnut. So I went up there and I mean, world class care, right? OHSU is known to have some really great programs. I'm not going to knock it, though. I think that if I would have stayed at my primary care, I would have just existed, and it wasn't offered to me until I went out to find it, to go and get some other treatment. So that's where I say always you have to be your own advocate in your medical care for sure, because nobody else is looking out for you. They're looking out for what the insurance can pay. Bottom line, and that's what I'm so frustrated about. But so I went through the treatment. I had occupational therapy, physical therapy, speech therapy, you name it. I was in this treatment for 10 months. I couldn't work. I was still home. I mean, now the level of stress that I can handle is like minimal. And then my brain just shuts off. Even to this day, it shuts down once I start getting too stressed. So my whole life is totally different. But the one thing that got me through that was the triathlons. So even though I was sick, the only time I felt better was when I was running or cycling or swimming or, something. I mean, mostly I was probably running, which is probably rattling my brain up in there. But to the point where my partner at the time had actually taken my running shoes and locked them in the safe along with my bike tire. So I think they knew that I wasn't resting, but for me, it was the only time that helped me feel good. I don't know if it was like the oxygen was going up to my brain, helping me feel alive for those moments while I was exercising. So I used that as a crutch to get through for sure. But then 2016, 17, I was able to get back into my triathlons and compete. And I did fairly well in 2017. I really felt like I was at the top of my game, though I noticed I wasn't recovering that well. And my neck started hurting really bad, and also shooting pains down my arms, like to the point where I couldn't run, swim, anything. I turned my head. I mean, it was, oh my gosh, it hurt so bad. I can't even explain it. Found out, go through the normal channels. The insurance again makes you go through physical therapy, try to fix this stuff, before you can even get an MRI to see what the heck is going on. As an athlete or someone who's been injured, most of us know our bodies pretty well, which is a blessing. But also, when you're up against an insurance company, it doesn't matter how well you know your body. You got to go jump through these hoops in order to find some care. So, anyways, you do that. You go through the different doctors. You go to the different physical therapy sessions that you have. I went to chiropractic, massage. I mean, I went to even a special chiropractic who could do the C1 vertebrae. He's no longer in business, but that was Dr. Rathbone, and because they felt like my head was just tilted on my spine. And so, I mean, I did all the things, and finally they come around to finding out that when you look at the MRI, that I had two discs that were pinching into my spinal cord. So it didn't resolve itself. I think this whole process probably took almost a year by the time I was able to get some resolve. And at that time, I just wanted the pain to stop. You can take the nerve blockers, the pain pills, everything, but I didn't want to live like that. So I ended up going in for surgery, and I had two discs replaced in my neck. That's right, I took them and they were replaced. So a lot of people you'll hear about have fusions done, but I wanted the mobility in my neck. I'm still young. I'm still in my 40s. So, and I still want to compete. So it was supposed to be somewhat of a simple surgery, and I should have been back to good as new. Um, so I did that. I healed. That was a little bit more traumatic of a healing process for me than what I had imagined. But I mean, overall, it's fine. I still have pain to this day, but it's not the same kind of pain. So, and I had so much pain that now I can't take ibuprofen because it hurts my stomach. So I switched to curcumin or cumin. Maybe that's how you should say it. But anyways, like turmeric, right? So helps with the anti-inflammatory properties that like you would get from an ibuprofen. But I'm trying to stay off of medicines as much as I can. That's just who I am. So anyways, I take that now twice a day, every day, and I still get lots of headaches and whatnot, but that could be related to something different. Then after that, You guys, I watched this documentary just by chance on Netflix. It was called The Bleeding Edge, and it was on Netflix. It might still be there. If you haven't watched it, I would highly suggest you to watch that show. So, in the show, the primary medical device that they were trying to educate people on was called Essure. Essure were these tiny little coils that women inserted in their fallopian tubes to become sterile, so no more babies. It was sold to us women as a product that was minimally invasive. They go in vaginally, they insert these coils right into your fallopian tubes, and the thought process was that your body would grow scar tissue and form that blockage. And the coils weren't supposed to move, they were nickel. So there hadn't been a lot of research done on it. The FDA hadn't approved it back when I ended up getting these in back in, I want to say probably 2004 or 5 is when I had mine in, so right in the beginning. Um, and I remember having to sign a waiver and all this stuff because it was, pretty much still unknown of what the risks were going to be. Well, this documentary apparently opened my eyes a lot. There's a ton of things that can go wrong. And they were wondering if my neck injury, now I break teeth. I think I've had like 10 broken teeth in the last 5 years. So weird. But, anyways, there's a whole bunch of things. And I would encourage you to watch this, even if you don't have Essure. There's other medical devices. It will open your eyes if you are thinking about or have any sort of medical device in your body. Watch The Bleeding Edge. It will blow your mind. So, anyways, it scared me enough to look into getting these coils out. I was having a bunch of problems, and I'm like, well, if this is one thing that I can get out of my body, I didn't want to have a baby anyway, so it was, I'm like, I don't need it. So I went and had a hysterectomy, and this was October. My neck surgery was in May, so here I am, not, still kind of winging it, but this was 2018 now, and that was a tough year for me. So the hysterectomy was a breeze, in and out, no big deal. But I thought maybe I'd start feeling better, like I'd start getting some energy back, and not have to feel so yucky. Like I didn't know if I would. Apparently, nickel is toxic to the body, and these devices were made out of nickel, which is interesting. And so I thought maybe my body would start detoxing, and maybe that was it. Maybe that was the key. So, anyways, fast forward, and I know that I updated you guys a while ago on a virus that I have. Well, here is the kicker. The virus that I have is called Epstein-Barr virus. It is chronic fatigue syndrome. So if you guys haven't heard of this, or a lot of people think chronic fatigue syndrome is made up, I'm here to tell you absolutely not. Like, I was a high functioning person in 2017. And so I think that I've had this probably the whole time. Um, I noticed even back then, like my recovery started drifting off. And I just couldn't get enough rest. I was trying to stay to my fitness plan, and oh my gosh, it was just killing me. So I may even had it back then, but didn't know. So, and Epstein-Barr is a very common virus. It also used to be something like they'd call it mononucleosis, similar to that, kissing disease, etc. So I have no idea how I got it or where I got it, but most people are carriers of it, even if it is, and most people won't know. Most people don't know if it's the symptoms don't show up, and that's just because most people have this in their body and it just stays kind of dormant. Well, apparently this virus is not dormant in my body, and it has just wreaked havoc on my system. So if you guys need a little bit of a lesson on how debilitating this disease is, you can go on again. There's another documentary called Unrest on Netflix. It's Unrest. It's all about chronic fatigue syndrome and Epstein-Barr virus. It's very informational. I am thankful that I am not as bad as these people on those videos. Like, I can still walk, thank goodness. But I can see their pain in this video on that documentary because I'm going through it. Like, just to get up in the day and do my normal daily tasks is exhausting. Like, it's just terrible. Um, I know my brain functioning has been diminished as well, and I hadn't felt. I was wondering if it's just all this virus or what's going on, but I had actually hit my head again in June of this year. So now we're 2019, 3 months ago. And to me, it was some very minor hit. I, it's like I don't even remember. So I think that what I did vaguely, I had a moment, like I look in my car and I was like, oh, that's what I did. I think I hit my head on the hatch of the car, but it was just enough and just the right place, apparently, that it messed everything up again. So again, I was home and I was just incredibly sad, and like I didn't want to go through that 10 months of treatment and whatnot again. Um, and I don't know if it actually ever really cured what was going on. I think that what happens is your brain is such an amazing thing. Other areas of your brain can take over for areas that aren't functioning correctly. Um, the brain can heal itself, which is amazing. Um, but you don't want it to die. So, anyways, I was afraid, super afraid. I kind of danced around it. I didn't want to admit that I could have another concussion from just hitting my head like that. It didn't seem like any major deal at all. Like, and so, but I lost functioning. I got really sick. I had the same deja vu moment of like just going blank. I couldn't see. My ears start ringing. I start sweating. Like I didn't know where I was. And I'm like, oh no, it happened again. So I waited a couple days. I know, but I did because I didn't want to admit it. I didn't. And so I went to the urgent care, and then with my history of head trauma, they sent me immediately to the ER. Go to the ER, have the CAT scan done. CAT scan is negative for, blood or growths, right? So, but everything else checked the box of a concussion. I called Dr. Chestnut again and went to see him. And because I couldn't explain to him exactly when this happened, he ruled it not a concussion. Everything I know, everything I've been through tells me it's a concussion. The ER says it's a concussion. Urgent care says it's a concussion. And I think that because I didn't have an exact moment where I could say, oh, I fell off my bike and hit my head, or, something, um, the doctor couldn't bill insurance correctly in order to cover my care. That's my opinion. Um, I could be completely wrong. Maybe my symptoms didn't match everything that he was looking for. Maybe it was very mild. I don't know. But I'm just telling you what happened is basically he dismissed me as a patient at that point. And this is somebody who I looked really highly up to and referred people to because I thought he was crucial in my care of my 2014 trauma. So, anyways, I then started seeking care for my virus, and my naturopath is who found that. So guess what? Our naturopaths covered by insurance. Some they're getting more recognized, I think. but some of the treatments aren't. So the treatment for this Epstein-Barr, apparently, because my immune system is so shot, is to have these IVs. So vitamin IVs, vitamin C, different types of things. And I'm supposed to take this IV treatment every week for 20 weeks, and it's not covered by insurance at all. So that is almost $200 out of my pocket every week just for IVs. Now, I am desperate to try anything to get me to feel better. And so I'm like, okay, sign me up, right? So here I am. I think I just went through my 6th week and I still don't feel well. Like, I still don't. I was able to go to my niece's cross country meet yesterday. Let's say she takes her about like a half an hour to run her 3 miles, right? I'm there, take a cute picture, leave, and by the time I got home, I was so sick. I had to sleep. I passed out on the couch for almost 2 hours before I could move again. That's the reality. This virus, it just takes you down. Like, and I'm missing a ton of work. Thank gosh, my boss is sweet and understands, and they just want me to get better. And by God, I am trying my best to get better. Insurances aren't making it any easier to get the care that I need. You know, you have to jump through all these hoops in order to get things done. And because you check off the list, you don't check off a certain box, you've got to start at the beginning. And it's so frustrating to me. So, um, these particular treatments wouldn't be covered by insurance, anyways, which is also kind of interesting, right? Like, if there's something out there that can help someone not feel well, not go on disability, why not have your health insurance help you get better so you don't have to live off the society? Oh gosh, don't get me started. But anyways, so I'm gonna fast forward to my new condition that I found out now, because I really felt like I'm just losing it. Like, I'm really just losing it. Like, I'm so forgetful. Um my brain's not thinking of words before they come out. I mean, those are normal everyday things that can happen to people, but I just know it's not right. There's something not right. Um, so I ended up going to a functional neurologist. So this is very interesting. So it's called Northwest Functional Neurology, and this doctor is world renowned. Dr. Zelinsky is his name. He also was on a Netflix documentary um, called Afflicted. He was on episode 2, and he helped a woman from Lake Oswego on that episode. It gives you a little bit of just a brief glimpse of what they do there. Um, so I did that. I found him on a couple podcasts. I listened to all his testimonials on his website. Again, Northwest Functional Neurology. If anybody has any sort of brain issues, I'm going to recommend you go here. Again, not covered by insurance. He doesn't take insurance. If you have insurance, you're welcome to get the billing code from him, and you can submit it to yourself. But not covered. Anyways, I thought I'd give him a try. What do I have to lose? Like, I just feel so horrible, and my quality of life is so low right now. I, I'm not willing to give up yet. So this was my next opportunity. So I went in there, and it's a 4 to 5 hour process just for initial testing. And that appointment is like $650. But what they do there is incredible. So there's all these testing that you do. You wear these glasses, and basically the glasses are connected to a camera that's watching your eyes, and it feeds back the data to the computer. So there's no way that you can lie, cheat. Basically, it's recording everything that you're seeing. You're supposed to watch dots on the screen with your eyes. You're supposed to count lines as they're scrolling through. They can go up and down. There's a whole balance exercises with your eyes open, eyes closed. Basically, they're just really taking the whole body here and watching what the brain is telling your body to do. And it's all documented, real data, not just guessing. And the way that this is described to me is that people with brain damage can have normal MRIs, normal CAT scans, and that's because um, there could still be damage there, but it doesn't go deep enough to find the damage. So this testing it's able to get right down into the science and track your neural pathways to see where if there's any communication being broke down or not. So your brain's job is to find out where you are in space, basically. So in my particular case, he did I've been to neurologists before, and they do you put your hand up here like this, and they're like, don't let me push it down, don't let me push it up, etc. Right? What blew my mind here was that he just took my head and put it at a different angle and did the same thing, and I had zero strength in the right side of my body. None. It was crazy. Excuse me, that was kind of bad. But it was so interesting to me, even down to my nostrils and how I smell. And then they did ear testing. So your eyes and ears are supposed to be able to tell your brain where you are in space and how your brain should be functioning. So this goes down to even walking, balance, whatnot. And I also deal with getting dizzy. I'm so dizzy. Every time I stand up, I have a head rush, feel like I'm going to throw up. So it's just all these little things that just have continually become a burden in my life. And so basically, he was able to cover all of that in this appointment. And the data, like, that's what I need, right? I want raw data. And they describe it to me like if you take a pack of spaghetti, right? Let's have all the noodles there, and you crunch it like this, so you're twisting it. Now they kind of tell you that like if your head has had some trauma, that's kind of what your brain does inside of your skull, right? And so the reason the MRI can see it from a distance, so it's like looking at that spaghetti from a distance after you've squeezed it. It kind of looks good, right? It still looks like it's pretty well in place. Well, you might have squeezed that spaghetti so hard that there's things on the inside that are broken that you can't see from the outside by looking at that spaghetti from 5 feet, 10 feet away. That's what they're telling me an MRI image looks like to them when it's of the brain. What this testing does is actually gets down into that center and finds out what pathways aren't working. So they also had another exam done on me and for depression, anxiety, and PTSD. And apparently, these test results kind of shocked me actually, because I feel like I'm a pretty upbeat, outgoing person. I know that I've been not well lately, but I am now. I have a chronic depressive disorder, and my anxiety and PTSD is through the roof. So there's another therapy here that is allowed, and that is called transcranial magnetic stimulation, TMS. And there is another, it's called framework. I can't remember exactly what it's called, but there's another person in there that they place these magnets. It's like Tesla powered magnets on your head, and then they find the location of where your mood center is in your brain, and they deliver these I don't know, magnetic pulses to your brain, to that center, basically trying to turn it on. So basically, what's happened through my life, this could be even all the way back to childhood, but each brain injury has made it worse and worse and worse. And then, of course, when you're in a state of not being able to do things that bring you joy on a daily basis, and then you're faced with things that are becoming problems for you, and even getting dressed is a huge issue. It wears on you. So that's kind of where I'm at. So by doing this, they're supposed to turn on your mood zones, basically. So hopefully it may regulate my mood, and I may not have to be on medication because I am on antidepressant. I absolutely am. And that happened after my last brain injury. So depression and brain injuries are go hand in hand. It's very, very, very common. So, anyways, that therapy also, that provider, Shauna Hahn is her name at Framework. I don't know what it's called, um, psychotherapy or something like that. Um, she takes two carriers, and one of them actually is my carrier. But there's a but. Um, you have to jump through all these insurance hoops. I knew you guys knew that was coming, right? In order to get this treatment. So you have to be on medicine. So basically, you have to be on medicine, and you have to have failed like 3 or 4 different medicines in, um, they call it the current episode. I don't know what the current episode actually is because I think this has been going on for at least 5 years, right? So, and then you have to be in counseling. There's all these things that you have to have done. You have to be chronically depressed. All kinds of things. So I check off all those boxes, every single one, except for the medicine trial because I've been on the same one for 4 years. So I'm out. Does that seem right? No, it doesn't because I have failed medicines in the past, right? I've had probably 3 or 4 different ones throughout the last 20 years of my life. Um, but because they're not apparently within this current calendar year or episode, however they want to define that, that's still to be determined. The insurance won't pay for it. So, in order to benefit from this care and maybe get off medicine and actually have a genuine life with joy, I have to dish out another $8,000 just for this treatment. I, and guess what? There's so many people out here who could use this therapy, um, and they can't afford it. People are killing themselves because they don't have an option. There's an option out here with functional medicine that has concrete data, but most of us can't afford it. So, anyways, so I've been told then the results of my brain scan come back that I have some severe left lobe damage and brainstem damage. And so, in order for me to try to get better and see if I'm going to have a better quality of life after this, because I really am determined to get better. I really, really am. I have to go into what they call an intensive treatment. So I'm there every single day, 9 to 5 p.m., and for 5 days. And they do these tests over and over and over and over. And let me tell you, even the first day of testing, I was so nauseous. I came home and I was in bed for the whole rest of the day. So people who've had a concussion probably understand this a little bit better. Like, you just get sick. Things just set you off, and you just can't function. So add that on top of the EBV virus that I have, and I'm a mess. I'm not going to lie. So they are going to do these intensive treatments. hopefully, I'm not looking forward to it. I think I'm going to be incredibly exhausted and really sick for a whole week. And I'm just going to hope that it will work. There is a likelihood that I'll come out and they're going to call it being in remission. So that remains to be seen. Again, that's not covered by insurance either. But I think that there would be a lot of people this can help. Stroke victims, anybody who has any sort of brain functions, autism. I mean, all sorts of things. This can help with. So I'll include some links for you guys to do some research on, and if you know anybody in your family who or friend circle that can benefit from this, I encourage you to do some research of your own and make some opinions because um, traditional medicine isn't exactly helping us right now. So if you can afford it, I would highly recommend looking outside um, into some different types of medicines. So I'm going to do functional neurology and functional psychotherapy and see how that goes. But that's where I'm going to ask for a little bit of help because it's so much money and I'm not able to work my full job right now and the insurance doesn't cover it. So I have real legit problems. It's not easy to ask for help, but I'm hoping also by sharing this that it will help other people. So, I will take you on this journey with me. I will show you what kind of testing I'm doing. And my hopes are that the results will help me get my life back, but also encourage other people to look outside the box to get some treatment and don't let the insurance company dictate how or who you can see to get better. All right, bless you. I will talk to you guys later.